Tonight's deep dive, major changes for SNAP benefits going into effect when the clock strikes midnight. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that more than 2 million people could lose benefits because of new work requirements and changes to exemptions. It's all part of President Trump's signature tax and spending plan passed last summer. Our Alex Brachet joins me now, along with Eric Mitchell, the president of the Alliance to End Hunger. Alex, I'll start with you. Break down what's changing overnight.
Well, Andrew, let's start with this work requirement. A new 80 hours per month work requirement for able-bodied individuals. Also, a part of that is now they're for individuals that are aged 18 to 64. Previously, the work requirement capped out at about 55. And for family members that take care of dependents, they used to have an exemption for dependents under the age of 18. Now that has shrunk, and it ends for dependents under the age of 14. We also saw exemptions removed for homeless individuals, veterans, and young adults who are in foster care. Additionally, this bill significantly restricts benefits to only apply to certain lawful permanent residents here. It eliminates eligibility for others legally present in the United States. But as you mentioned, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that between 2025 and 2034, 1.1 million people will lose SNAP benefits. Another 1 million people, it estimates, could have those benefits reduced because they are no longer eligible for exemptions.
And Eric, what do you make of all these changes made in that GOP mega bill?
Well, the GOP mega bill really, quite honestly, is a bill that is just really attacking some of the most vulnerable people in our country. As Alex mentioned, the folks who are going to be impacted by these changes are families with children under 18, older Americans up to age 65. And what these work requirements are going to do is basically make that population was the population that typically is the hardest to try to find steady employment to now be burdened with trying to prove that they are working 20 hours a week just to be able to be fed. Not to mention individuals who are dealing with homelessness as well as veterans. These are, again, we are talking about some of the people who are dealing with the most, at times, unstable forms of employment. And so, this is just a policy that we feel is unnecessary. There's already work requirements, used for SNAP benefits. And so by extending it and making it even harder, you're just increasing the burden on more Americans.
And so with that, Eric, what do you think the result here could be for those millions of Americans?
Well, it's not only going to just be those millions of Americans who, like Alex mentioned, the over 1 million people who will lose their benefits and the additional 1 million people who will see their benefits reduced, but it also puts a strain on the broader community. Food banks are already struggling across this country to try to make sure they have enough food on the shelves to be able to take care of those who are trying to put food on the table, as well as your local grocery markets and others who rely on individuals who are receiving SNAP benefits to kind of keep the economy moving forward. This is something that has it's going to be a trickle down effect as it relates to the people who are going to be losing these benefits.
Eric, how are groups like yours helping to work and bridge that gap and maybe some of the confusion and challenges as millions stand to lose these benefits?
We're working with groups in states to talk about how these policy changes are going to impact them directly. I didn't mention the fact that some of the policy changes that's in H.R. 1 is also going to put more burden on the states, where states are going to have to figure out how to close gaps in their own state budgets to cover what was once going to be covered by the federal government. And so many people are going to have to talk with their state legislatures as well as their governors to make sure that these are priorities in their state budgets. But we're also working with groups to understand what are some of the resources that you can have as relates to being able to make ends meet and be able to qualify for these programs. One thing we have to mention is that this is a program where it's serving over 40 million Americans. This is the largest nutrition program in the country. So any changes to this is going to have a drastic impact on people. And so it's going to be up to us to really educate folks on what those impacts mean. And I really appreciate you guys, making this a topic for today.
And Alex, this could be a really difficult week for people. How do they even know if they're about to lose their benefits?
Well, that's part of the big confusion here. Number one, you're talking about, as Eric mentioned, a program that some 42 million Americans depend on. But it's not like, there's a website that you can go to and type in your name and your credentials and figure out whether or not you're still eligible. Listen, the reality is that in some states, those benefits are going to evaporate tomorrow when the clock strikes midnight for folks, especially for folks that can't prove their work history. But other states are going to try to at least give a little bit more of a runway, a little bit more of a buffer before starting to kind of wean people off of these programs. But when we talk to a lot of food banks, that is their big concern. It is the uncertainty. It is the hodgepodgeness, if you will, of this taking effect, and they're hearing concern from a lot of people that are dependent on these programs.
It's getting harder to find work. It's getting harder to find work in the United States. In August, businesses added just 22,000 new jobs.
That's actually quite a weak number. Looking at that in isolation, that would actually be a lot more consistent with the start of a recession, historically.
Gone are the days of 200,000 jobs every month. We're likely to be in an environment where job growth is hovering around zero, essentially.
The U.S. labor market is worse than previously thought. Less than half of the people polled by the New York Fed say they could find a new job if they lost their current one.
Downside risks to employment are rising. And if those risks materialize, they can do so quickly in the form of sharply higher layoffs and rising unemployment.
The Federal Reserve can give businesses more confidence to hire workers by adjusting the federal funds rate. The Fed is lowering this key interest rate as companies navigate changes on trade, immigration, and inflation.
Companies are holding back because they're both trying to see what the tariffs will be, what the effect of the tariffs will be. And inside of that is what happens to their profit margins.
They're willing to deal with the uncertainty, but they need to react to that. And so part of that is just being very prudent in how they're hiring.
Why are jobs disappearing? And can the Fed do anything to bring them back?
America is facing a crisis. Everywhere you look, the headlines talk about worker shortages and not enough people to keep the economy running. But what if the real danger isn't too few workers, but too little work? What if millions of Americans went searching for employment only to discover there is nothing available?
The people right now in the United States are panicking because layoffs have returned. I said this was going to happen a few months ago. I told you that after we got through the holiday season, retailers were going to realize that the American people were putting all of their purchases on credit cards, using buy now, pay later, borrowing money, cashing out their retirement accounts, and that's how they were able to buy gifts. Well, we don't have any more money. And then earlier on this past week, we saw a massive winter storm sweep across the nation. Many people, millions of Americans, went out and bought food and generators and items that they couldn't necessarily afford, but at the same time they needed it because roads were going to be closed down, stores were going to be shut, schools were going to be closed, and millions of people would be stuck at home. That's exactly what we saw. But now, all the announcements of layoffs are coming. Look at this. It says layoffs are piling up, heightening worker anxiety. Many employers are considering layoffs and have been for the past year. But several employers, like Amazon, UPS, Target, even Meta, were all saying that they were waiting. They're hoping things change. There were no changes. And now we're seeing some massive layoff announcements. Look at this one that came just the other day.
Amazon has just announced it's cutting 16,000 jobs worldwide.
It's the latest round of mass layoffs as the Seattle-based company reshapes its business in the world of AI.
Yeah, reshapes its business in the world of AI. Keep in mind when a big company decides to make a major change and they shift from what they were previously doing to something different, all the other companies are looking at what is Amazon doing? What is Meta doing? Why are these big companies making these major changes to their business right now? It's because they see what is coming. And this has many people extremely concerned about what is happening.
No income!
That's where millions of Americans are going to be. In just the next several months, we are going to see millions of people lose their jobs. Yes, right now. It's because they see what is coming. And this has many people extremely concerned about what is happening on their end.
I'm unemployed. I have no income.
That's where millions of Americans are going to be.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. I would like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. Blessings and safety to the Lord's elect. All right. And amen. A great squeeze is coming. Okay. A great squeeze is coming. All right. And you Americans, okay. Well, I'm going to just speak about Jake, all right. Because we're not concerned with the other nations. All right. They're just going to be a casualty of war. All right. But you Israelites out there, you so-called blacks, Latino, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, all right, who are truly the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, the sons and daughters, even though they refuse to be, okay? Hey, you're about to feel it. This devil is about to strip everything from you, okay? And he's going to, put you in a situation to where the MOTB is going to be the only outcome for you people. And ultimately, he's leading you right into a trap, okay? Now, I want to open up with a quick precept, man, all right? Because, you women out there, man, you make up the majority of Israelites on these damn benefits, all right? And, you boast and brag and, getting these stamps, all right? You talk shit, man. You sit at home on your ass and just collect, stamps and collect checks and child support, man. But see, now you're going to have to get your ass up and work, man. Okay? And a mass majority of these women, they don't want to go and punch no damn clock. But as you see on a few other videos I played after, it's getting hard to find a job, man. So even you brothers out there, man, I hear a lot of brothers complaining about work and how their job is tedious. And hey, listen, man, we're slaves, man. A lot of brothers be in the spirit of always quitting a job, man. Stop quitting your damn job, man. Okay? Because it's getting hard to find one, man. Now you get in the hole. Now you're looking at brothers to pull you out, man. Keep your job and work it. Now, if you find another one and you want to leave one, then so be it, man. But don't quit your job without a job lined up, man. All right? But back to the topic, man. You women out there, man, now you're going to have to go and punch the clock 20 hours a week, man. Which that's going to take away from you riding the cock carousel and hitting the club, all right? Now you're going to have to actually go and punch a clock, man. Okay? Now, let's get the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, and, verse 9, man. All right? It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech." All right? See, these women, here in Babylon, man, mainly the so-called black woman, all right? She has been at ease. She has been comfortable. She's been able to sit on her ass, man. All right? In which, in all actuality, these women, giving them liberty to work a job was destruction, okay? Actually, a woman's supposed to be at home, cooking and cleaning and, making dinner, attending to the children. See, a lot of these women, they're going to want to go back to that role. So don't be surprised, man. These women that, been on, getting, EBT, got a lot of children and, they getting buku money on food stamps, man. They're going to try to find a man, I'll stay home, I'll cook, I'll clean. All right. Because they ain't going to want to go into the workforce. A lot of them fear the workforce. You got some women out there that work, but a mass majority of them, they don't have to. But now they're going to have to, man. So all that sitting down, being comfortable, bleeding the system and, gathering up simps and bleeding them, man. That shit is running out, man. All right? Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless women, you careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins, man. All right? So the Lord is getting ready to strip you women, man, of everything, man. Slowly but surely, man. Okay? It ain't gonna just be women affected. It's gonna be a lot of you men affected. A lot of you Edomites, right? Because a lot of Edomites is on a lot of Edomites are on government assistance too, man. I know this devil, man. Him and his wife, man, they own a restaurant, man. All right, and it's a successful restaurant. I would say he said he make around $900,000 a year, man. But this nigga is getting free medical, all right, and him and his wife is getting free food stamps, man. Okay, bleeding the system. See, a lot of that shit is gonna come to naught too, man. All right, but again, man, my focus is on you Jakes, man. All right, the Lord is about to pull the plug, man. All right, the Lord is getting ready to pull the plug. So you're gonna see Jake in the media, on social media, boo-hooing and crying. Oh, how are you gonna do this to us? We have children. All right, well, we told you this man was the devil. We told you this man was the devil. Okay, and then you got a lot of our women. They're supporting Trump now. All right, because you had the bitch Nicki Minaj talking about how she's the #1 Trump supporter, and then you got these women, all right, Hispanic women and the N-Dub, they following after her. Now everybody's a Trump supporter, but here it is. This niggas is planning on starving you niggas out. See, right now is just the beginning of sorrows, but these things are going to intensify, man. All right, so now you women got to hit the workforce, all right, which we all know that's a disaster. Okay, that is a damn disaster. That's just freedom to be a whore, man. Okay, that's hey, because I work with this chick, man, and I perceive her to be Edomite, but who knows, whatever, man. But she has a damn husband, and she's at work just riding the cock carousel, man. It didn't just spreading the gossip, man. All right, hey, and my manager, man, he said, he don't like to hire women for that reason. They keep up a lot of BS in the workforce. They lazy. All the women I work, they sit on their ass, man. All right, eat. They don't do shit, man. Women going to the workforce with nails and a bunch of weave in their hair, man, and they don't even want to get dirty, man. So hey, man, this just spells the disaster, man. All right, a great squeeze is coming, man. Okay, and soon this is going to lead into a famine. Okay, empty shelves and empty supermarkets. Okay, which that's going to lead to 2 Ezra 15:19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword for the lack of goods and for great tribulation. Which is going to lead to a lot of you people, eating your children, a lot of you women eating your children, a lot of you men eating your children, okay? Because ultimately you didn't seek the Lord. So they're going to be boo-hooing and crying on social media. Oh my God! Oh, why you government, the American government, Donald Trump this, and the Republicans and the Democrats, and why, and we're going to march, and we're going to we have to this and this and that, but no one is going to say, let us return to the Lord and repent, man. All right. But hey, man, I got a quick precept. I'm going to close with this precept, man. This is a quick hit. All right. The great squeeze is coming, man. The great squeeze is coming. All right. The 2 Ezra, chapter 8, verse 50. And it says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride, man. And we are in the beginning stages of it. Okay. But great miseries is coming, man. All because you people turned your back on your power. All right. The scriptures say the beginning of pride is when one depart from their maker, man. You Jakes out there have departed from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, and neither do you want to return unto him. Okay? So a lot of you Jakes out there, man, you're about to suffer. Okay? You're about to suffer, man. Okay? And the ones that kept their true true faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, all right, it's gonna be protected and good in that day, you know. But hey, you know, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm gonna end giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Until next time, Shalom.